Okay, so despite my last video being called Top 10 Black Superheroes you may not have heard about, I still ended up getting asked why I didn't include Storm. Like, really? Storm was literally the premier black superhero in pop culture before Black Panther took on that mantle. Even though her big screen appearances have been lackluster at best, the white-haired weather-controlling mutant has stolen the hearts of many. So you know what, I get why you wanted her on the list, but fret not, I've decided to dedicate a whole video to this queen. So whether you remember her from the movies, seen her in the cartoons, or maybe you're even familiar with her comic appearances, you may learn something new today. This is the truth about Storm. Her origin. Storm made her first appearance in Giant Size X-Men issue number 1 in 1975, where she was introduced as part of the new lineup of the team. But before we get to that, we should probably talk a bit about the history of mutants. They were created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and were introduced in the Uncanny X-Men issue number 1 in 1961. Homo superior, or mutants, are essentially an evolved species of human who possess an X gene which grants them superhuman abilities. This allowed Marvel writers to introduce superheroes without having to create an origin story. And with the civil rights movement coming into full force in the 1960s, the mutants became an allegory for minorities. After around 14 years, the comic was rebranded and new members were added. This included Wolverine, Thunderbird, Colossus, Nightcrawler, and of course Storm. This team was also much more diverse, and it was more representative of the whole minorities allegory Marvel was trying to convey. Okay, so let's actually get to her origin. Aurora Monroe, aka Storm, was actually born in Manhattan to a Kenyan princess and an African-American photojournalist. After her birth, the family moved to Cairo in Egypt, where they lived together for 6 years, until a plane crashed into their home, leaving Aurora as the sole survivor. Homeless and stranded, Aurora was discovered by some street thugs who took her to their leader, Ahmed El-Jabbar. She joined this gang and she learned how to become a master at thievery. At one point, she even tried to pickpocket Professor Charles Xavier, who was a tourist at the time. Due to his telepathic abilities, this failed. When Aurora was about 12, she felt a sudden urge to travel south towards the Sahara Desert, so she ventured forth. It was on this journey that she met a young prince, T'Challa, who she saved from some kidnappers. A romance quickly bloomed, but eventually he had to return home to fulfill his duties as a prince in Wakanda, leaving Aurora alone once again. Her final destination was her ancestors' land in a valley in Kenya. It was there that she found out about her heritage and that the reason she has white hair and blue eyes is due to her being a descendant in an ancient line of Kenyan priestesses, all of whom share the same physical traits and have the potential to wield magic. She was taught how to control her powers by a village elder, and she soon became revered as a god to all the local tribes. Many years later, Aurora was recruited by Charles Xavier to help rescue the original X-Men team from a sentient island called Krakoa. She then went on to become a full-fledged member of the team. Storm is incredibly powerful. In fact, she has been classified as an Omega level mutant. This means that there is no limit to her power. She is basically in the god tier of mutants. Storm's mutant ability is Atmokinesis. This allows her to control and manipulate the weather. This may sound kinda basic, but she literally has full command over the atmosphere. She can control the level of precipitation in the area. She can generate lightning, whirlwinds, tsunamis, acid rain, toxic fog, and blizzards, just to name a few. Her mastery over the wind is so advanced that she is able to levitate herself as well as others. She can even manipulate the wind to stop people from breathing, and she can use her wind abilities to aid her in breathing underwater. And if that wasn't enough, her powers even work in space. There was even a story where she possessed Stormcaster, a hammer very similar to Mjolnir. This granted her super strength, and it further enhanced her control over lightning. This would have made her on par, if not stronger, than the literal god of thunder. And in the Marvel vs DC Comics event in 1996, she was chosen to face Wonder Woman, and she won. In fact, she beat her with ease, which is kind of a big deal since Wonder Woman's strength is comparable to Superman's. Her powers are also strongly connected to her emotions, which means she must maintain extreme emotional control if she doesn't want to cause any disasters. In fact, she caused a climate imbalance on Earth when she was mourning the death of Wolverine. Trivia. These are some things you may not know about Storm. Romance. She has had high-profile relationships with Forge, Wolverine, and Black Panther, the latter of which she married in one of the biggest weddings in Marvel history. The marriage didn't last too long though, as it was annulled when Storm sided with the mutants in the X-Men vs Avengers event. On Earth 9811, Wolverine and Storm had a child together named Kendall Logan, who went by the alias Torrent. She inherited both her mother's weather manipulation and her father's regenerative healing abilities. She was a member of the Fantastic Four for a short while. After the Civil War, Reed Richards and Sue Storm requested that Storm and her ex-husband join the team while they left to fix their relationship. I think this team looks really cool. Black Panther has shown multiple times that he is one of the smartest minds on Earth, and Storm is a great replacement for Invisible Woman in my opinion. She also beat Cyclops in a battle while being powerless. After he rejoined the team, he wanted his title as leader back. Storm refused and then managed to best him in a fight. She has a lot of magical potential, being that she comes from a bloodline of magic users. She is yet to develop these powers, but if she does, she will be on a whole other level of powerful. And Storm was originally supposed to be male. Hard to imagine, right? During the creation of the new X-Men team, editor Roy Thomas and Dave Cockrum initially decided to create a male mutant who could control the weather, called Typhoon, and they instead wanted to create a black female team member who could transform into a cat. This got so far into development that we even have some concept art. I think this definitely does look cool, but we all know that they made a better decision by giving her weather powers instead. She was also the Wonder Woman of the Amalgam universe. Jada Pinkett Smith and Rachel Luttrell were both considered for the role as Storm in the 2000 movie. To be honest, they were all poor choices, and I find it very strange that they only considered light-skinned actors because Storm is clearly a dark-skinned African. Fox didn't even remedy this with the new continuity, as they clearly had in mind what they wanted Storm to look like. Since mutants are coming to the MCU, I do have some ideas of who I would want to play Storm. I think KK Palmer, DeWanda Wise, Naomi Harris and Kiki Lane are all great choices. I love Storm. She's not my favorite X-Men member. That will probably have to go to maybe Nathan Gray, but she is a close second or third. Anyways, this was the truth about Storm. I hope you learned something new, and if you think I missed out anything, please let me know in the comments down below or message me. Stay safe and be happy. Peace. I don't know how else to end the video, but bye.